Alright guys, how's it going? So we're doing something a little bit different today. We're taking a look at one of my Kassadin viewers, ZongXD. He was having some struggles in some of his games, so he sent me this this gameplay, and he wanted us to take a look at it. So right off the bat, so he's an enjoyer of Doran Shield Second Wind. I have been pretty vocal about the fact that I don't particularly like it. I mean, I think it's fine. I don't think it's the reason he's losing games, but like especially in a matchup like this, where you can bully her, you're basically just wasting gold. So, Mr. Zong, a quick tip versus Katarina, right? So if you go, instead of going Doran's Wind second shield, what you do is every time she uses her Q on you, you use your Q back on her. That means you trade damage, right? She takes a little bit of damage and you take nothing because your Q shield actually blocks her Q damage. You can see it's 83 magic damage right now. Her Q's 88. It's 5 damage, right? So then you don't have to go D shield. The other thing is it's actually a little bit more if you have AP. Now it's not the end of the world. I think probably the reason we lost this game is gameplay decisions. This looks like a really, really good Kassadin game in my opinion. So let's get into the VOD. Okay, so one thing right off the bat is we put a ward here, like as soon as we walked up in the lane. I don't know the exact time, but let's see, we walked up and then immediately put a ward in here. So I like the idea of trying to scout and get vision here, but the correct thing to do here is to actually sit here with your body. The reason for that is because a lot of times Kindred's other junglers, they're going to try and like get into your jungle and place a ward down, right? So if you block it with your body, you can get an idea for what's going on. The other reason is because around 1 minute to 1 minute 10 seconds, I like to go in here and I place a ward over on Raptors. Now the reason I always do this, or I try to always do it, is because Kassadin always gets pushed in early game, and it's very hard as a jungler to play with a mid laner who gets pushed in. So you give a little bit of information for your team, you help them out, and you're going to get pushed in anyway, so it's not like you need the ward, right? Now, as an exception here, this is a matchup where you can technically get pushed. And then after this, we're just sitting here, right? You should have your body in this brush. This ward doesn't give you any information. It's going to expire before there's ever a threat of a gank. So, yeah. My suggestion is level 1, you always go to the side with Raptor's brush. You sit in this lane. If you're on red side, you go here, right? And then at sometime between 1 minute 10 seconds, you try and sneak forward and place a ward like right here, so you have vision of Raptors and see if they start Raptors. Right now you're doing nothing. So you did something that I actually really like here, and I want to commend you for it. A lot of lower elo players, when they're alone with a wave, they get a compulsion to just auto attack it, and you held the wave in the middle. I think that was actually a really good decision. And the reason is because, well, I don't know if she missed EXP. No, she got EXP. Katarina was off doing God knows what, and there's a small chance that she misses the first 3 melee minions. The best way to increase that chance is if you let the minions just kill each other, right? You want to last hit it at the last possible second versus getting push. So, good job. Okay, so right here you're going to do something interesting. So there's 2 things that go on in this matchup. So one is, like I said, you always want to trade Q for Q, and then the other thing is you always want to space around her daggers. Post 6 it changes, you actually want to hold Q, but you do something interesting here. So she uses her dagger right here. She uses her dagger on the wave. That means it's on cooldown for 11 seconds. She can't use it on you. Which means instead of walking up away from her like we're scared, we can actually be on top of this minion, and you can do auto Q auto and proc electrocute, and she has no counterplay. You can take probably like 200 damage off of her HP, maybe even a little bit more because of electrocute, 200-300 damage, right? Or she backs up and you force her to miss that CS. A really important concept in mid lane in any role when you're trading is abusing cooldowns. Now the next thing, this is something you need to be aware of. Katarina has a very potent level 2 all-in. If Katarina was a little bit better and had played that a little bit better, she could have potentially been able to kill you, honestly. But, oh, she went Doran Shield, never mind. Okay, use Q. There you go. Okay, in these sorts of things, I understand it's tempting to QW. You want to make sure you're trying to get as much damage off as possible. You had 2 opportunities here to proc your Electrocute. Every proc of Electrocute does... At this point, it does 80 damage. So you're missing 160 free damage on her just from your passive. Right? 2 opportunities there. You do a really good job of holding the wave here. That's kind of what you want to do. You want to keep the wave in front of your tower. So she can E forward and get some damage. Okay, she's not a very good Katarina. Oh my gosh. Listen, we all make trades like this, it happens. I just want to show what happened. I've done this before, sometimes you misclick. It's not really a great trade from Katarina if you use Q correctly here. So if you use Q on her, and then you save W, I think if you QWE her, it's a winning trade, or Q auto WE or something like that. The problem is you used every single ability on the minions, so it looks a lot worse than it is. You're just giving her too much space in the lane when you have a strong threat versus her. Katarina, in my opinion, like solo 1v1, is probably one of the easiest matchups for Kassadin. Alright, you needed one more auto to proc the Electrocute. I think it seems like we're a little bit unaware of the way Electrocute works or something. I'm not 100% certain, but you want to use 3 abilities or 3 auto attacks, any combination of those things, right? So let me do this again. You've already taken the damage here. Your mindset should just be to E, auto W, and then run away. But you just EW, and because of that, you're not getting as much damage. So at this point, that's 80, that's 240 damage missing from her HP bar. Because we haven't procced Electrocute a single time. So same thing here, right? You want to take short trades where you can proc your Electrocute. And it's like, I've not even tried to be mean here. This is something I think you should focus, especially in melee matchups, is finding opportunities to proc your Electrocute. Because, especially in easier matchups like this, because there's so many opportunities in this lane, you could have complete control of the lane by now, but we just kind of gave it to her for no reason, and we're not thinking about using our runes to our advantage. An Electrocute, that was a good dodge by you. So you Q, and then you W on this minion, which you don't need to do. So W in the early game is Kassadin's most powerful ability, because it gives you an auto attack reset. So this ability on its own, so it gives you extra passive damage. So every auto attack you do gets an extra 21 damage, right? So that means your first auto is going to do 80. Your second auto is going to deal 68 plus 57 damage, right? So it's over 200 damage that you're going to get on auto W if you can time it correctly. And I think that's something that maybe we should practice in Practice Tool. But like same thing here. Just auto her. Your auto W is coming off of CD. Auto W, oh, we W'd the minion. She died to auto W there. So yeah, again, you never would have been under any kill threat if we didn't give her so much space and we were thinking about proccing our Electrocute. I think the biggest suggestion I can give you is think about how to use your runes effectively, right? You're not getting any value from this keystone unless you proc it. Currently, you effectively don't have a keystone. It's done actually 0 damage the entire lane. Actually, I was going to say I probably would have TP'd back here, and the reason is because it's not going to hold a freeze. So this is also a mistake. So I think we should TP back here. And the reason we should TP back here is something called the even minion rule. I know you're a little bit newer, Zong, so I don't know if anyone's ever explained this to you, but generally speaking, if you have 2 waves, so 6 minions here, 6 minions here, they're going to push away from the side. If you leave them alone, if you leave them to their own devices, they're going to push away from the side they're closer to, right? So right now the minions are closer to your side, they're just about even. while you're basing and walking back, all of these minions are going to die. So if we look, this is a cannon wave. This is a lot of gold and EXP we're missing out on. We're losing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we lost the entire cannon wave, right? We got maybe EXP for 1. And Katarina is going to be able to collect this wave because her wave is going to get bigger as it pushes towards her, right? So when you have a wave state like that, your mindset should be, okay, I'm going to immediately base and TP back so I can push out and crash the wave. Then, once you crash the wave's going to slow push back in towards you. It's going to build up a really big wave, and it's going to give you the ability to safely last hit, right? You don't want to trade with her when she has a really big wave because the minions will beat your ass. But that's pretty important. That's a big mistake. It made it so you're actually, I think you're behind in XPF with the kill. She still hasn't collected her. You guys are even. Should have been like a game over mistake. And again, okay, look at how we're trading here. So, auto W. Sometimes we use W when we really don't need to. In melee matchups, it's a really, really important cooldown. You only want to use it if you know you're not going to be trading in the next few seconds and you can just last hit it, right? The reason is because of it's his biggest source of damage in the early game. So you should QE auto, and this is a winning trade. So a tip versus Katarina. When she uses these, I always am like prepping my Q in case she dashes to it, because Katarinas are addicted to dashing to their daggers, right? So you should insta Q and E. It's just very slow. Or you can EQ, so that way you get the slow, but EQ auto. If you had W up, you could E auto WQ, right? You're missing out on so much damage because we're not proccing our electrocute. Okay, and we insta-proc. So this is something I want you to practice in Practice Tool because it's a very important Kassadin mechanic. It gives you much more damage in the early game. Just go into the Practice Tool, practice auto W. Auto W. Practice sequencing your abilities to proc electrocute in the early game, so Q, auto W, E, something like that. You always want to use abilities and auto attacks in some pair of 3 when you have electrocute. Okay, now we're just taking damage for free. She has a fully stacked Conqueror, we don't want to fight her. Okay, so we back up, and let's see, after all those minions are dead, she might have an XP lead, let me see. It's very close. You guys are even on EXP when she should be completely behind you because you missed that entire cannon wave. If you had gotten that whole cannon wave and TP'd back, you'd be level 6 right now. You'd have a level advantage on her. If not, very close. Now you definitely would be. See? Oh, we got our first electrocute proc. I just want to show you. Look at how much damage this did. So first of all, we used our Q for no reason on the minions. Use W for no reason on the minions. You're full mana. Okay. Q. Auto W. That's what you want to do. And E. Look at how much damage you did to her. This is a completely winning trade. Imagine how in control of the lane you would be if you had been doing this the whole time. Right? I understand we're probably missing a lot of side lane CS in mid game. But we gotta get down our trading in lane because it's so important, right? When I smurf, sometimes I int lane, but when I smurf and I play against lower elo players, I'm taking control of the game right from the get-go. Now you're 1 HP. The only way you can possibly lose this game is overstaying and dying. You have TP up. Again, using the abilities on the wave when you're this low HP is crazy. You need them up to fight her back. In case she tries to all-in you. You need to have your abilities up. Okay, you need to hold her Q in case she uses her ultimate. Hold Q in case she uses her ultimate. You could walk up and auto those. If she goes in on you, she dies. Ult her. Nope, use Q. Never mind, you can't. You have to... You can kill her there. If you ult auto W and then you hold Q for when she does it. I mean, I appreciate the heavy trading, but what's going on is you're basically like losing lane slowly, and then you're just getting bailed out by your jungler, which isn't something you can really rely on, right? You should be, based off of the way this Katarina is playing the lane, you should be just absolutely destroying her by this stage in the game. Okay, I like that we're finally trading a little bit, but we gotta think about how we're doing this. Versus Katarina, post 6, you need to save your Q, and you need to save your Q for her ultimate. Your Q cancels her ultimate. If you read your Q, interrupting channels. It doesn't say that it's a channel, but it's a channel. That's funny. Becomes a flurry of blades attacking. It makes it sound like it's auto attacks, but it's a channel. Your Q interrupts it. Instead we go... Okay, you can ult on her face. Nope. Not when we do that. Okay. If we save her Q here, for when she ults, this isn't even close. Let me show you why. So E. So first of all, you already used E. I would probably be looking to auto W. Yeah. Look at the damage you take from her ult. It's like, I don't know. It's so much damage. Just save Q for ult, and that's not even close. That's my biggest advice there. I like that you're pushing out the wave. That's good. And you should now look to base. You don't need to TP back. The reason you don't need to TP back, this wave is now coming into you. See how this was on her side of the lane? Now the minions are killing your minions, and you're going to get a big wave here. Regardless of whether or not you use TP, you don't need TP to catch it. Okay, yeah. This might be the last thing. I might take a look at some mid-game team fights and stuff, see if we can get any more advice, but it just doesn't seem like we're thinking about how our abilities interact with each other. So my typical trade pattern versus a Katarina like this, is she's just going to jump in on her stuff. I walk up. When she jumps in, I insta-ult WE and I walk away. I never ever use my Q unless I'm completely disengaging. The reason I'm not using my Q has been talked about extensively. You need to save it for her ultimate. But the other reason I don't think trading like this is optimal is because you're just not proccing your electrocute. We're 11 minutes into the game, and we've gotten, I think, 2 procs of electrocute the entire game. If we'd been effectively proccing our electrocute and paying attention to the cooldown, so there's a little bar above your head, or at the bottom of your screen above your HUD, where you can see what your electrocute is doing. So you can see if it's off cooldown, you can see how long until it's off cooldown, and you can see when, and then you can open it and see how much damage it's done, right? Biggest criticism here, I mean, I want to say you're doing a good job not dying. A lot of people will just die to Katarina players for some reason. They get mind controlled into all-inning her in like the worst possible way. Okay, we use Q again. We're rotating here. I wouldn't rotate to this. Yep, this is an end of review mistake. This is a terrible rotation. So I appreciate the sentiment. This is the end of review mistakes. This is probably the point where, in my opinion, you really, really lost control of the game, because prior to this, I mean, you have a couple kills, but really your teammates have a couple kills. You're 1k gold up, right? You're 20 CS up or something, 14 CS up. So in this situation, you should never let her push the wave. So if you are rotating to this play, we want to be hitting the wave. Be ulting, using your E, make sure you're saving an ability to get away from the Katarina, because you're stronger than she is. She should not have the ability to get priority to get pushed in the lane. Once she pushes this wave out, you're going to lose this entire wave. You're giving her a window back into the game. The other thing is, once she pushes this wave, not only are you going to lose this entire wave, the wave is going to hit your tower and then it's going to slow push out. right? So that entire time after the wave hits your tower until you get back to lane while you're gray screened, you're just going to be losing minions. This is like the only way Kassadin can get back into the game is this, right? We'd be able to suffocate her a little bit more if we had a better understanding of how to trade, right? But this is, you're asking me earlier of high CS. Look, this is how I have high CS. So if you look, you actually are pretty on pace. I think you're doing like, I don't know, what's 83 divided by 12? Can't do mental math. You're almost 7 CS per minute. You're doing pretty good. You would be 7 CS per minute if you had got this wave, right? These are the types of plays that ruin your CS numbers. So first off, even rotating to this is a 2v3 because your Shaco is here, Kassadin got pushed on mid wave, and she's going to be there before your Shaco, right? The other thing is your versus a 6-in-1 Kindred, right? Following a call from your 1-in-5 set. These people both have completed Triforce. They're very strong right now. You don't want to fight around the set. You don't want to fight the 2 strongest people in the game. It would have been much better for you to stay mid lane. You could maybe do something once the Shaco rotated, but honestly, it still doesn't look great. Right? Now, yeah, we just don't do damage. Don't understand her cooldowns very well, right? Does Kassadin somehow get a penta here? Can you see what I mean? So I want to show you how much CS you're losing. So you're gray screened right now. So you lost that entire cannon wave almost, except for the 2 or 3 minions you got. Now this wave right here is pushing out. So this has to be really painful, or this should be a really painful experience for you, because you're losing so much gold in EXP, right? Now the Kassadin is going to be a friend and push the wave out, but that's a mistake here. Kassadin should have based and let the wave push towards her, because she's not really missing out on much. That was actually a mistake for her. Now we're looking, it looks like we're looking to roam again. I don't think there's any reason to roam here. I would stay mid. I would push this wave out. I would hit mid tower. The reason I would do that, because we have a cannon wave in mid. Our Kassadin died, and we can just exert more pressure on the map. We can force Kindred to come out and deal with us, etc. But yeah, I think the big mistake here, for me, is twofold. It's, one, the end of review mistake is this rotation here. This is just not a smart decision. This is the only way Kassadin can find a way back into this game, is taking this fight at this time. The other thing is we're just not understanding how to trade. So I don't know, maybe it would be helpful if I showed you, if I went in practice tool real quick and showed you some combos for the early lane. Okay, so I didn't buy any items, so that way I can give myself the same amount of AP as you. So this is the first combo that I would have done. This is the level 1. There was a point where you basically could have gotten, you could have defended a minion from her, and if she walked up, this is what you should have done. You should have done auto Q auto. It's a little bit slow, but look. That was 242 damage, level 1. Okay, the next combo that you want to practice is going auto W, especially when you're doing electrocute. The reason you want to practice this combo so much is because auto W plus any other spell is an automatic electrocute proc. So you can do like auto WE, right? Look, I just did half of this HP. I did almost 500 damage with 2 abilities because I procced electrocute.